I'd like to ask you, Joe Moye and Dan Grosswald, what is the biggest risk?
Yeah, I'd be happy to start with that. I think the autonomous technology and mobility area has it's probably done itself a little bit of a disservice of all the lofty expectations of these George Jetson scenarios of vehicles zipping all around our roadways in autonomous mode. And I don't think it's because anybody was derelict in their visions. I think it was just the reality that this is a walk before you run technology. One of the things that we've hit on here that's so important is starting with planned route, controlled speed environments where you're able to mitigate a lot of the complex interactions one would typically have on, much more sophisticated or much larger routes for the traveling of a vehicle. The technology is getting better and better every day, as you and I talked about before the call, even applications beyond moving people. If you're moving boxes or luggage or anything else, same type of technology that's being advanced to perceive an environment and be able to navigate a course. And so, I think it's important as an industry that we, evolve this together in these more controlled environments and not set false expectations that these vehicles will be able to go anywhere, anytime, any speed tomorrow. And I think from a risk perspective, that dramatically reduces, the chance that, something would happen. But I'd also say, at the end of the day, and you probably know these statistics better than I, but 43,000 people perished on U.S. roadways last year alone. Incredible tragedy. The property damage associated with that, the quality of life damage associated with that. 94% of that caused by human error, distraction, impairment. These vehicles respond in a scenario 3 times faster than a human can, identifying something and actuating a brake. And they're never distracted, right? They're not staring at an iPhone. They're not going to the town center for a couple of drinks and getting behind the wheel. And that's, that can't be lost in this. This is about, saving lives and reducing risk as it relates to one of the biggest threats, in our country today. So anyhow, that would be my my soapbox speech on that topic.
I would look at it from 3 perspectives. First, the biggest risk really from our perspective is human failure. The vehicle itself and the technology itself is very good, and as Joe pointed out, is better than a human being in terms of its safety factor. Really, what happens is either a human acting from the outside of the system, crashing into it or taking advantage of the vehicle is a risk, not the vehicle or the system. Or when it's not in autonomous mode, it's actually riskier than when it is in autonomous mode. Sometimes the vehicle has to be manually moved, so the risk factor increases slightly there over when it's in autonomous mode. But the other 2 things, so we decided purposefully to create the dedicated path for the reasons that Joe mentioned earlier. So that helps us minimize the risk that it's not interacting on an open road or a parking lot system as much as it otherwise would be if we didn't have the trails. So we did that for a reason. And finally, we've decided to have the CDD operated. So from a developer point of view, having the CDD own and operate the vehicles gives us, some sovereign immunity from what we would otherwise be exposed to as a corporation. So that's kind of how we viewed the risk and how we've tried to mitigate or transfer it, as you mentioned earlier.